Hi Libra, this is going to be your ex-partner reading for October 2018. The cards are already laid out. This will be the row for you and this will be for your ex-partner. There's a card in the middle to act as a central issue and also a card that we'll look at from the bottom of the deck. Now, I must warn you, I have got a cold coming, so if you hear me sneezing, then I apologise in advance. So Libra, the card we have at the centre is the King of Swords. Now, it may be that you're dealing with another air sign, okay, another Libra like yourself, or a Gemini, Aquarius. But it could also be here to touch on your energy. You know, you are an air sign. The King of Swords is very logical, okay? He makes his decisions based on his logic. He speaks his truth. He wants clarity. He wants to understand things. It could, as well as just being your energy, it could be very much talking about both of you at this moment in time, okay? Maybe one of you wants to speak your truth. Maybe, you know, both of you are trying to get to the truth in regards to each other, or indeed about how you're feeling separately, okay? Now, the first card you've got is the Four of Swords. And if you look up here, you've got these three swords up here together. The thing is, to get from the Four of Swords, we've had to have come from the three, okay? And the thing is, we do have the Three of Swords on the table. Now, you know, the Three of Swords, as we know, is sadness. We know it's heartbreak. We then get to the Four of Swords, you know, where we're feeling stressed, we're feeling mentally drained, we're exhausted, we're worn out, and we need a time out. You know, it may be that, you know, you're not in a frame of mind at the moment, Libra, where you're wanting to communicate to your ex. As I said, the Four of Swords is mental exhaustion. On their side, they do have the Eight of Pentacles. Now, this is a card of, you know, hard work, time, effort. You know, is it that they're putting hard work, time and effort into healing themselves? In healing any heartbreak and sadness that they're feeling? Or, you know, is this a hope that they're hoping that, you know, you may want to put this time and effort into repairing this relationship? Or is this their energy that this is something that they want to do? They want to put time and effort here into repairing the relationship. Now, in terms of what you're both thinking, feeling, or actions to be taken, you've got here the Nine of Wands. So, you know, with the Nine of Wands, we've been through challenges. We've been through some battles here, some conflict. You know, we may be feeling mentally exhausted. We may have a few battle scars to show, but we're not out completely, okay? Now, the thing with the Nine of Wands, we may very well have a protective barrier up around us. But the thing is, now we kind of, when we get to the Nine of Wands, we've been through these challenges. And we know there could be more challenges on the horizon. So it's a case of forewarned is forearmed here. Now, that's not to say you're not prepared to try again, to give this relationship another go. But it does suggest that you may not be so, you're not going to bring your barriers down straight away. You know, you're going to keep your guard up, because you're not wanting to go through any more challenges again. But if you do, this time you're ready. Now, on their side, we do have the Three of Swords. And this, like I said, it deals with heartbreak and sadness. For me, sometimes I do think of the Three of Swords as getting to the heart of the matter. And we do that through communication. But, you know, I think mainly here it is touching on this sadness. Now, moving down, if I can pick it up, you do have the Six of Wands. Now, this is the victory card, okay? Having come through challenges and coming out the other side victorious. It is the card of, you know, being noticed, attention, you know, a pat on the back. So it could be here to suggest that if we're dealing with a reconciliation here, maybe there is going to be some victory in this situation. But it could be here to suggest that, you know, you're gonna come out the other side of this and you're gonna be in a good place. You know, yes, you've got these barriers up. Yes, you may be feeling mentally exhausted at the moment. But you know, to get that Six of Wands at the end, you know, you're gonna come out of that energy. Next card you've got is the Ten of Pentacles. And this card for me is always the family card. You know, shared finances, maybe shared business, shared home. You know, it can often be the card for me that as I said, family and marriage. So, you know, to get the Ten of Pentacles there, is it suggesting, you know, again, I don't know, I just feel some positivity here. I feel that there is, you know, there is going to be this opportunity here. Let's move on anyway. We have the Star card next. Now, the Star card is healing, okay? Healing oneself, maybe healing, you know, as I said, the relationship. The Star card is also that wish card, you know, having hope and faith that everything is going to work out here. And the last card you've got is the Magician. And he manifests. He can make, you know, whatever he wants a reality. He's got all the tools, all the ingredients at his disposal to bring about whatever it is that he wants here. And maybe that Ten of Pentacles is there to represent that is what you want. You want a committed, secure relationship. Now, on their side, they do have the Eight of Swords. So this is mental imprisonment. Keeping oneself trapped. But it's their thoughts that are keeping them stuck at the moment. Now, it can be a card, you know, of not taking any action. You know, not moving on. But also not doing anything else. Just being stuck. It can sometimes come from a place of fear, okay? Their next card is the Two of Swords. Now, the Two of Swords is where a decision is needed to be made. We've come from the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords gives us clarity. It helps us to understand everything better. So when we get to the Two of Swords, there's not a lack of clarity or understanding here. It's more a case that a decision has got to be made, but we find in the decision, the choice, difficult. We know it has to be made, but we don't want to make it at the moment. So we keep the blindfold on and kind of bury our head in the sand. But they know a decision has got to be made here. But I think the fact that they're not making the decision, as I said, is coming from a place of fear because they're keeping themselves trapped within their own thoughts. And it may be a case of this fear and keeping themselves trapped in regards to, you know, if I open myself back up here, am I going to go through more heartbreak, more sadness? Now, the next card, they got slightly difficult energy with this Five of Swords. Now, the Five of Swords is about somebody here that, you know, yes, they win the argument, they win the battle, but they win it at the cost of hurting another individual, or at the worst case, losing another individual. Because this type of person is about winning, and they want to win at any cost. And eventually the other people around them get to the point where they've had enough and they walk away. So, you know, Libra, it makes me question, is your ex viewing you in this way? Or is this your ex? Either way, this is one of your energies here. Now, the last card they've got is a lovely card. We've got the Empress. Now, the Empress, you know, she's very loving, she's very nurturing, she's very giving and caring. But the Empress also is the birth of something new here. Sometimes it can talk about pregnancy. You know, it makes me wonder if for some of you, is there or has there been some situation between you and your ex regarding a pregnancy, regarding that one wants to start a family and the other is not ready? But the Empress doesn't have to be about pregnancy. It can be the birth of something new here, a new beginning. Now, the card at the bottom of the deck is Temperance. And Temperance is about patience. It's about tempering one's emotions, okay? Getting our emotions in check, not allowing our emotions to go either way, you know? But also, the thing with Temperance is she has a clear long-term vision. But, you know, it's about her using her logic here and about, you know, realizing that it takes time. You can't rush this process. With the Star card being there may very well need to be some healing. You've got that Four of Swords, they've got the Three of Swords. You know, both of you dealing with sadness, with heartbreak here. You know, it may be for some of you that, as I said, this may be in some way linked to a pregnancy, or, you know, I feel that could be the case here for some of you. Libra, if you are the one that this Five of Swords is talking about, then maybe you need to look at the way you've been communicating in the past. But because I don't feel, if I'm being honest, I don't feel that is your ex. But maybe for some of you it is. But look, please keep in mind, this is a general reading. It will not resonate with everybody, okay? There are some new beginnings. You have the Magician, they have the Empress. But they need to get out of their own head, okay? They've got to deal with some fears at the moment. And maybe you have got to go through a healing process. Okay, Libra. Oh, I'm sorry. We forgot to look at the card at the bottom of the deck, which is the Queen of Wands. So, oh no, sorry. Libra, excuse me, we did look at the card at the bottom. It was Temperance. My God, I'm going crazy this morning. I think this cold is affecting me. Sorry about that. Yeah, it was Temperance. Okay, so that is your reading, and I wish you all the best, and thank you for watching. Take care. Bye. Hi, Libra.